So today we're going to talk about some of the plants that I have inside the grow tent, and we're going to feed Prism. So without further ado, let's go.
You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
One of the easiest growing plants to grow alongside your chameleon or lucky bamboo. It doesn't require nutrients at all. It's just water and light. So that's what we have here. Nepenthes Alata is one of the most durable carnivorous plants that I know. If you have one of these inside your chameleon's enclosure, it'll be a vining plant similar to a pothos, to where your chameleon can climb throughout the entire enclosure, but it also captures bugs that might come from other plants within the enclosure. Nepenthes Miranda is one of the plants that do not like a lot of sun, otherwise the leaves will turn red. So what you're going to do inside the enclosure for this one is put it in a place where it's receiving light but not direct light. It's also a great vining plant for your chameleon to grow on, but it is best at the bottom of your enclosure. Sarracenia is one of the best plants to keep inside your enclosure to eliminate fungus gnats, but with this plant you're going to need a lot of light to reach it so that it can grow effectively. Everyone knows the Venus flytrap. This plant is a very, very good plant at capturing bugs, but inside of your chameleon's enclosure, it more than likely will not capture any of the fungus gnats just because they're so small. So with this plant, you're going to keep this as an aesthetic plant just for your enclosure. And then we have Helium 4. Helium 4 is very, very good at capturing a good variety of insects, but it does require a lot of sun/light and a lot of humidity. Pothos are the one plant that every chameleon keeper uses inside their enclosures for the most part because it's a vining plant. It grows very, very lush, very, very big, and very, very fast. This plant is very versatile in that it can grow in full sun and it can grow in low light conditions. If you're bad at taking care of plants, this plant is one of the best plants to have inside your chameleon enclosure. Now, for all of my plants within my grow tent, I don't use any harsh chemicals at all. I use all organic fertilizers, but for my carnivorous plants specifically, I use this Gutterbug brand jungle juice, which allows pitchers to grow very, very, very fast. Sometimes it does have the capability of burning the pitchers, but even when it burns the pitchers, it makes the entire plant grow very, very fast. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the dubia roaches into each one of these containers. In that, I'm trying to get Prism to wander throughout the entire enclosure, but have the roaches be inside of a specific spot to where they can't get out. Generally speaking, when I take insects and I dust them, I usually put them inside the containers so as to not have that calcium run throughout the rest of the enclosure into other plants because, for example, like carnivorous plants don't like high nutrients, they don't like calcium, they don't like minerals inside the water. So having these nutrients and these minerals contained inside of a container to where the chameleon is not necessarily putting them throughout the entirety of the enclosure is the best practice that I can suggest when you're growing carnivorous plants with your chameleon. When I'm not dusting the roaches or the insects that I'm, giving to Prism, what I'll generally do is I'll put them in a container and I'll throw them into the enclosure wherever I want, usually away from the water reservoir. But if they do end up there, Prism will eat them still. So sorry for talking your ear off, but when I'm dusting the roaches, I put them in containers, and when I'm not dusting and it's free range, I just throw them into the enclosure and let them be as they are. So let me show you one more plant. This right here is a plant that I purchased so that I could feed my silkworms. If you know silkworms, then you know mulberry trees, mulberry leaves. So I have this plant. I'm going to grow this plant inside the grow tent alongside with the other plants in my carnivorous plants. Hopefully we can grow a nice, lush, big mulberry tree within the grow tent. And what I'll basically do is take off the leaves, feed them to silkworms, and the silkworms will be fed to the chameleon, and it'll just keep on going in that cycle. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and
You don't know me, but I know